Good morning, members, and to our viewing public who are watching our budget hearing this morning through our live feed and our social media platform. The chair will now call this budget hearing with the Department of Public Works into order. And at this time, we move further down on our, but before we move further down on our next order of business, having 8 members of the Committee of Ways and Means present, we have duly established a quorum. So with that, we are now on item 2, adoption of agenda, and do I hear a motion? There is a motion to adopt today's agenda, and it has been seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Motion is adopted. Moving along, we are now on item 3, public comments. And at this time, if there's any members of the public who are here in the gallery that wishes to make public comments, you may do so at this time. Seeing that there is no members of the public to offer oral testimony, we move further down on our order of business, and that is item 4, introduction and statement of the chair. At this time, Mr. Secretary Yumo, we thank you and your team for coming before this august body to discuss your budget submission and requests, and also the proposed budget by the administration that was submitted to us back in April 1st. We thank you for being here with your team. And before we give you the floor for your opening statement, let me just recognize the members of the committee who are here, starting by myself. I am Representative J.P. Sablon, chair of the committee. We have to my left Representative BJ Atto, who's the vice chair of the committee. We also have our floor leader, Representative Marisa Flores. And to her left, we have Representative Vincent O'Don. To his left, we have Representative Roman Benavente. And to his left, we have Representative Angelo Camacho. And to the other side of the aisle, we have Representative Dinita Yangtumay. And to my right, we have Representative Joel Camacho. Also assisting our committee this morning are our bureau staff, starting with our legal counsel, Mr. Joe Hallahan, our budget analyst, Mr. T.G. Rabago. We have also our senior legislative assistant, Ms. Claire Sablon. We have our IT, Mr. Jonathan Diaz, and of course, we also have our Sergeant at Arms, Mr. Pete Tuwai. Also with us this morning to assist the committee is Ms. V from the Office of OMB. So with that said, at this time, Mr. Secretary, I give you the floor for your opening statement.
Thank you. And good morning, Chairman and distinguished members of the Committee on Ways and Means. My name is Ray Yumo. I am the Secretary of the Department of Public Works under the current administration of the Palacios Apatang leadership. So with me today, I have Rich Siren over to my far left. She is my head for administrative accounting. She's basically my account manager, handles majority of the accounting for the department. To my immediate left is Peter Camacho. He's my director of administrative services. Over to my right is Mr. Blas Mofnas. He's director of solid waste. Over to my far right is Director Mike Borja. He's the director for roads and grounds. And then in the gallery, behind my right, far right is Ed T. Marcel. He handles floodplains. And person in red is Noel Modine. He is my right-of-way office head. Behind him and to the right is my chief engineer for federal highways for the island of Saipan, concentrates basically for the island of Saipan. That's Henry Bautista. Seated next to him is Gani Salazar. He is my head engineer, handles all the projects, highway projects for Rhoda and Tinian, as well as local projects there. Seated next to him is James Regis. He handles, he's highway inspector, handles road cuttings amongst other tasks. I've asked him to be here because I'm sure there'll be a few questions regarding road cuttings. Over to behind me to the far left, closer to me, is Yvonne Tenorio. She is my building safety, acting building safety officer. She handles building safety code. And seated next to her is Crystal Leon Guerrero. She is TSD. She's going to be fielding all questions regarding local appropriations and projects tasked over to TSD. And behind her is Vincent Atto. He is stepping in for Director Toma Inos, who had to fly down to Rhoda to conduct inspections down there under Energy Office. He will be fielding questions regarding your concerns with regards to weatherization assistance programs and state energy plan and the like. And then behind him is Miss Winnie Titano. She is my head for personnel. And seated next to her is Roxanne Panglina. She assists Ms. Rita Siren on budget matters. So with that, Chairman and members, I'd like to start off by saying that the Department of Public Works remains committed to modernizing infrastructure, enhancing public safety in the form of infrastructures, and promoting sustainability across the Commonwealth throughout multimodal transportation initiatives, environmental resilience projects, and regulatory enforcement with roads. DPW has successfully advanced its mission in serving the CNMI. I will be outlining the department's achievements dating back to 2023, the start of this administration. This department has accomplished many projects that it was tasked with. Infrastructure and sustainability are essential to the strength and future of our Commonwealth. Within the Department of Public Works, we have been instrumental in advancing our island's development. The Technical Services Division, or TSD, most especially, and highways. Their efforts ensure that we not only improve our roads and transportation systems, but also secure, through innovation and strategic planning, other projects that we're tasked with coming from this body. Our Division of Energy also handles assistance to those in need for the goal of reducing energy costs, which is a priority as well. The Department of Public Works department consists of the Technical Services Division, the Division of Administrative Services, Building Safety Code, Roads and Grounds, Energy Division, and the Division of Solid Waste. So, Technical Services Division, the projects that we've been able to complete is Route 36, Phase 1A, which is the Windward Calabeta Road Improvement Project. Features 11 to 12 feet of travel lanes, a 4.5-foot bicycle lane, drainage crossings, permanent traffic markers, box culverts at Unay Fatang and Unay Nanaso. Phase 2, we've extended that road from Hidden Beach to San Juan. The funding source was a congressional earmark costing $15.2 million. Route 36, additional road paving. We've pushed the paving to include a stretch just past Calabeta Cave. We are now working on the final phase, which is to complete the paving up to Bird Island. So we're pretty excited about that. The Route 315 quartermaster traffic signal installation. Don't know if you guys remember that. That was back in 2023, which we completed at a cost of $2.2 million. Route 205 on Tinian, we completed engineering design at a cost of $260,000. We have bidded out this route, and is ready for notice to proceed. The Route 30 Chalan Pali Arnold and Copa de Oro intersections have been completed, although there are some concerns that we've brought up with the contractor, and we're working with finding a solution. As you know, a section of the road failed, and it's being addressed even as we speak. Over in Route 10 in Rhoda, we are working with procurement services and the Office of the Attorney General to deal with the contractor that failed to complete the hazard elimination project down there, and we're coming close to negotiation to settle the issue so that we can move on and find an alternative contractor to finish the work. The TSD local has successfully completed several major infrastructure projects in 2023, 2024. We were able to complete the Gagu Street asphalt road paving in Kekman Phase 3 at a cost of $214,000. Tangan Drive Road Improvement Phase 2 at $226,000. Sidewalk construction along Route 30 in Tanapak at $86,000. Salancanoa Drainage Improvement Project at $204,000. Kekman Pathway Lighting at $119,000. So for the 2023-2024, we've completed about $3.6 million in local projects, thanks to the delegation for the funding. The Office of or Division of Energy has completed the Sinamay Energy Security Plan in conjunction with other agencies that had pitched in, such as CUC. They were able to complete solar lighting retrofits at the Enos Peace Park, provided solar fan and lights distribution on Saipan, Rhoda, and Tinian. The state energy program under the bipartisan infrastructure law grant of approximately $2.5 million, supporting new renewable energy projects such as additional solar power street lamps and residential light distribution. They are proposing to pick up 2 electric vehicles with solar powered charging station for the office to provide for their needs and also for public awareness. They're assisting CHCC in retrofitting lighting with that agency, and also assisting with solar panel installations at beach pavilions. As you know, Weather Assistance Program is actively promoting cool roof and paint program on all 3 islands, and that's going pretty smoothly. Roads and grounds, as you all know, play critical emergency response in times of disasters such as a typhoon. They also conduct routine maintenance and beautification project and throughout the island. Director Mike will be fielding questions. I'm sure many of you have a lot of burning questions about the roadside cleaning, because we are shorthanded, severely shorthanded, but through his effort and his ingenuity with his team, with such a small fraction of staffing compared to the mayor's office, they're able to do what they can for the island of Saipan. building safety code. Mr. Wan will come up shortly to discuss the numbers for you guys, so that you're aware of the trends within the Commonwealth. And certainly, we all want to know as well with the Solid Waste Management Division, both Director Blas and Director Pete. I've asked Pete to assist Director Blas because we are moving with solid waste management projects. We have the ASAJA grant that's soon to be unlocked. We have completed the comprehensive integrated solid waste master plan, which we've submitted formally to US EPA for their review, and they are actively reviewing it. We expect their approval within a matter of months, and once that approval comes through, with the adoption of that plan in the Federal Register, we'll be able to begin drawing down close to $45 million for the upgrades and development of the landfills on Rhoda and on Tinian, and equipments for the island of Saipan. So in conclusion to my opening statement, we, the Department of Public Works, continues to modernize, improve, and sustain Sinamai's infrastructure, ensuring safer roads, stronger facilities, and environmentally responsible development. Through this resilient transportation planning, environmental initiatives, and community partnerships, DPW is paving the way for progressive and to connect the Commonwealth. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I turn it back to you to field any questions that you and your committee may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. And before we open up for questions and answers, let me recognize some of the members that have stepped in. I saw earlier Representative Julie Ogo, who has just joined us earlier. And we also have Representative Joe Flores, who is with us this morning. So let me start, excuse me, Secretary, with, I know that your department's request for extra NOPs, but in the same time, just looking at your worksheet, there are some positions that are still reflective as vacancies, vacant positions with regards to some of your divisions. So my question would be, are these vacant positions being filled since you have submitted your request back before April?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Chairman. I will hand that over to Director Peter Camacho.
Good morning, Chairman. Most of those positions that we have on board have already been signed and processed and released at our end. We've done several interviews. We've done selection process. It's just a matter of getting all the signatures inked so that an OPA can be issued upon a passing of a drug test. But most of the vacancy that we have available, as soon as an employee either resigns or exits, we immediately process a vacancy announcement.
Okay, and that includes the vacant position of a civil engineer, building safety official, because these are important positions too.
Like I said, a lot of those positions have been advertised. Unfortunately, for example, like the building safety official, we have received from OPM stating that there's no qualified applicants, but we are doing a continuous announcement until such time that we fill that vacant position.
Okay, so how long is this position has been vacant?
It's been a while since it was passed and since it was advertised. Like I said, we've continued to do a continuous announcement until such time that we have a qualified applicant to fill that position.
Yeah, if I may, Chairman, the biggest problem we have with, now that you've kind of zeroed in on those two positions, most especially the building safety official, I'll be very straightforward. Nobody wants to apply for these positions with the salary that's currently being offered through the Office of Personnel Management. I mean, OPM, the budget not the budget, I take it back. The salary level is way too low. Okay, we're not gonna attract the type of applicants we need with the current funding limits based on OPM. I have reached out to, for example, we have a grant under the building code for adoption training and technical assistance program to ask for a federal share so that we can bump it up. And I have received positive support to that. The thing is that we had a little bit of a stumbling block because with President Trump's signing of an executive order that kind of froze all grants. It stopped for a while, but now we're revisiting it. And Mr. Ed T. Marcel is actually handling this grant on our side. He can actually get into more details if you would like. But in a nutshell, we have received positive response from this grant to help add to the salary so that we can raise it up beyond the, I believe it's like 50,000, 60.
It's actually 65, and the other
65,000
position is
threshold, yes.
50,000.
Thank you.
So, that was supposed to be my next question, because some of your employees, including yourself, Mr. Secretary, are getting also partial payment from federal grants, and that is the reason why, if the issue is the salary base, I'm sure that you can work some adjustments with federal grants to maybe bump up this. I think, none unless there's any. Are there any statutes that's stopping you from upping this or co-sharing this salary?
I'd actually would defer that to OMB. Ms. Villagomez is a subject matter expert in this field.
Go ahead, Ms. V, for any clarification.
So, if there's a need that the salary needs to be bumped up, pursuant to or whatever the field of work is required, then there's opportunities for, if there's any lapses can be used to cover or make up for the difference in salary. And if that particular individual is going to be supporting a federal program, then of course the federal program should come in also and support that, a portion of the salary. So yes, there's a way to make it work.
Right, because with these positions, these are specialized positions, right? And maybe perhaps, Mr. Secretary, Public Law 21-9, if I'm not mistaken, allows for positions that are like specialized, such like civil engineers, right? That requires a lot of training to even fill this position. So just to kind of adjust the salary base, if that's really the cost, because it seems like, if I recall, last budget hearing for DPW, these vacancies were vacant. So maybe it's perhaps over 2 years is the vacancy in a position, no? And maybe we should put more efforts to try to fill this position. And let me go to my next question. I know that based on your request, Mr. Secretary, and versus the governor's proposal, I know that you have requested some NOPs on your different divisions, but only some were actually awarded. For instance, your building code division, right? Right now you have 13, but you were awarded additional one, which makes it 14 now for that division. But under roads and grounds, I know that you have requested additional 4, but that's not granted by the governor's proposal. But just looking at the status quo with 22 personnel under roads and grounds division, maybe this question perhaps is for Ms. V. I know that we are status quo under Roads and Grounds Division with 22 personnel, but there is a variance of a negative of 14,000 under personnel. So perhaps can you put clarity to the body? Are these 14,000 in the negative are on fringe benefits? Because we still have the same amount of NOPs versus this fiscal budget of for roads and grounds.
So just looking at the worksheet for building safety code between the department submission and the governor's proposal, there is a variance across wages and salaries, across, the other fringe benefits going down the line. So there is that variance, and I believe it had to do with an adjustments in either current salary, or there's like for example, the floodplain administrator is partially funded by a federal program. So there is that adjustment there.
So, okay, so maybe perhaps some of these employees are partially paid by federal grants.
Just one of them.
Just one of them. Okay, thank you for that clarity. And so at this time, let me open up to the members, and I'll start with our vice chair here. Vice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Secretary, and to your team. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. Just on revolving accounts, outside of the local appropriations, what revolving accounts do you guys have available?
Okay, we do have a few, such as the road maintenance account. We do have the financial assurance under solid waste, but that's a restricted account that I don't even draw down from. And let me see. I think we also have one under building code. All the fees that they collect from the permitting process is reserved for buildings codes needs for operations, and we just created one under the right-of-way office, and that's for meant for right-of-ways offices used for enforcement for road signs, parking, for example, and the like.
Do you have the amount for each one that's available?
Yeah, 1 second. As of, we got the most recent one? I didn't. Oh, so for building code, I'm reading about 229,000 for building safety code, and then yes, the tipping fee account balance is for solid waste is 656,000 for that, and for the road maintenance, we're looking at about 2.5, but just be mindful that I've reserved all of that for the CUC streetlights billing. Right now, we're expected to pay about $1.3 million, because in the Budget Act, you've not budgeted anything for utilities, so I have to use road maintenance account for that.
Okay. How about the financial insurance? I know that's
about 6 million, and but again, it's we like to jokingly say it's paper money.
that's the beautification, no?
Yeah, 6.8.
That's
Yeah.
the EPA financial insurance, correct?
Right, that's correct.
And the 2.5, that's what you're going to be using for the street lights.
Correct.
Okay. What are you using currently for your utilities and operations? Are you just using your revolving accounts?
Yeah,
to-
we're using our we're using our revolving account, most especially the road maintenance, and we're also using that to take care of emergency needs of roads and grounds when they have catastrophic equipment failure.
All right. Would your road maintenance account be? I guess the idea is to include the language again to utilize the up and down number
Right.
for personnel or operations. Would the $2.5 million be adequate to add addition or to cover the shortage of NOPs for roads and grounds? Should we include language in the budget that states that the street lights will be addressed via all the appropriations to CUC's utilities?
I would say yes. I mean, because the focus for road maintenance, the account really is to deal with the roads in the the Commonwealth, right? So that we can do upgrades, maintenance. The stripings, they fade out. We lose reflective light or markers. Those needs to be replaced. So we do have a funding source under federal highway, but it's limited to the main roads, and I can't even get Director Mike to go into the villages, for example, to take care of those roads. That's the real purpose of road maintenance account, is so that we can do a continuous maintenance, restriping, and the like. Crosswalks, striping as well. Things of that sort. Yeah, filling up of the potholes. The last few years I've been constantly asking the delegation to make funding available, but it's kind of oxymoronic. Right? We're asking when there's already a mechanism for it, but I'm being forced to use the account to pay for utilities instead of road maintenance. I mean, the driving community is getting older, and we can't continue to neglect the roads not being maintained. And of course I thank the representatives that have from within your own budgets have your community workers go out and assist roads and grounds in maintaining the road shoulders. But again, it doesn't need to be that way if we do it right.
Mr. Secretary, I know that there's a lot of local appropriations over the years that address actual federal highway obligations. Do you guys have that readily available for calculation basis so that maybe we can request for reimbursements for those specific projects that local funds were utilized for
Okay.
federal highway projects that maybe you guys can keep for your account to assist with the needs for DPW?
Okay, that's a tricky question. Let me see if Henry, you want to come up and answer? I don't see Ken. Come up here.
And the samples we can give, right, are like the potholes in the main road where we appropriate local funds that should be federal highway monies, the striping that we appropriate local funds that should be federal highway monies. I think if you add all of those up, that's a lot of money that we can get DPW reimbursed or have the federal highway funds reimburse those accounts, just like CIP projects. We'll get to the CIP projects that deals with DPW.
Head pressed.
Good morning. I think for now we don't have that record.
You don't have the record,
We don't
so
have that record to reimburse.
yeah, you don't have the record to reimburse, but you should have the history of all the federal highway projects that local funds was utilized to address the needs. I guess we considered them emergency needs at the time on highways, that we move local monies to address those federal highway obligations. I think that DPW should be in queue with that so that we can get reimbursed for that. I'm trying to get the money back for you guys because essentially, if we really wanted it, we'd take the money back for us to appropriate. But I think it's important that you guys have the documented history so you can include that in the obligations of federal highway to the CNMI. Failure to do that, they're never going to know that we're using our local monies to address federal highway obligations.
So, based on federal highway records and various projects, we usually request for funding. Let's say we have to submit our estimates, and federal highway approved that certain budget. I don't remember if we have any local funds that we use for federal highway projects.
I can guarantee we did. Let's take Middle Road for example. That pothole right by Shell that was paid for. We transferred about $17,000 to address that problem. The crosswalk over at Yukon, that was local monies that paid for that project. There's a lot. So I think DPW should put all those things together so that we can ask for reimbursement. We're never going to know if we're going to get reimbursed until we try. And if we do get reimbursed, I'm willing in this position for the local level to make sure that that money stays with DPW rather than come back to the delegation for appropriation purposes.
Okay. So for pothole repairs, those are under maintenance, and that is not qualified for reimbursement.
Yeah, but the revolving account is road maintenance. So I think it's important to try, right? There's a lot of I can give you a history of local appropriations that address federal highway obligations. Well, I think DPW should at least try to request for reimbursement for those projects over the years, because that's a lot of money. We lost about $4 million in federal highway money from 20 years ago to today. Imagine if we get reimbursed for all those local monies that we use to address the federal highway obligations.
So we can get those records, and we try.
Please,
to,
at the very least, and I promise that money would stay with DPW for its obligations. We're not going to take it back and reappropriate it for other projects within the at least the 3rd senatorial district. I'm hoping the first and 2nd senatorial district would follow suit, that any of those local monies that were addressed for their federal highway projects would allow DPW to maintain those monies to create a special revolving account to address the needs of DPW. At least if we can try to at least request for reimbursements for those costs.
Okay, we'll check on that.
Thank you. Secretary, right-of-way, have you collected any money for right-of-way right now?
Okay, I'm gonna invite up Noel Modine for that. He is running the in essence running the office of right of way. Or go ahead.
So with
Press the button.
So with the right-of-way account that we've established, we've only collected roughly less than $3,500 from the Liberation Parade lots, and we're trying to accumulate more.
With this businesses that are using right-of-way,
Yes, this
It's-
will involve all the businesses that utilize the right-of-way for parking stalls, for signages, and for any extensions that have been previously erected that are permanent structures.
in your regulations, do you allow businesses to follow suit with the DPW standards of like sidewalks and all that stuff, rather than charging them for usage. At least give them a 5-year grace period to erect the sidewalks to follow DPW, so that we're uniform with our businesses and the projects that DPW takes.
So with what we've been doing lately, because there are certain zoning requirements for these businesses, we've been using federal standards and just providing them the guidelines of what's necessary and how to properly construct these sidewalks to ensure that they're in compliance with federal highway standards, especially when they're parallel to the federal highways.
Sure, but will DPW allow them a grace period? Meaning, if they fix the sidewalks, the drainage in front of their businesses to follow suit with DPW's federal guidelines, will there be a grace period
So
where you
right-
charge them after a certain amount of years?
So right now, with the way the regulations are currently set up, there is no fees that are being collected for modifications like that. So right now, it's pretty much a grace period for these businesses until further establishment of the fees are more detailed.
So what are the fees that you have that are detailed right now?
So right now, the only establishment of fees are for signages, parking stalls, structures, and that's pretty much the baseline right now for what's being collected.
Okay. Why don't you guys include the sidewalks or drainages in front of these businesses so they pay for it? Meaning they pay for it, whatever federal monies that you guys have for projects like that can be utilized somewhere else, maybe on Road and Tinian.
We could work that into any modifications with the regulations.
Okay. What are the fees for signages?
Right now, for the fees of signages, for up to 4 signs, 4 locations of the same signage would be collected $100 per year
For 4 signs?
for 4 signs.
What sizes?
There's no limit to this, or right now the limit stands at 4 feet by 8 feet, so a standard plywood sign.
Okay. What about these advertisements for programs like DPS signages, NM Posse signages? Are you guys charging for those?
So with those signs, we put into the language of the fees that if they can request for waives of the fees, but it's at the discretion of the secretary to do so.
Why would you waive the fees when these are federal programs that have money?
Let me jump in there. No. Okay, the reason why is because, for example, if the program year has already commenced and the grant is being spent and it wasn't factored in, then these folks, these offices would ask for a waiver. But knowing that for next year, that it would be factored into their grant application. So some grants are very detailed oriented, and if it's not in there, then their grantor agencies would not approve it. So that's one of the reasons why there would be a consideration.
Yeah, I do understand that, Sec, but when these types of signages come up, they're more like temporary permanent signages, meaning they actually cement down the pipings and erect it. Then when a typhoon comes around, it's damaged, they leave it. You guys are going to be obligated to fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. So this is the first iteration of this new regulation that we've adopted. So there's obviously always room for improvement, right? So we will be making those adjustments as we go along because again, it's new, uncharted territory for us, and we want to make this work both ways and not make it seem like we're just out there to over-regulate. We really do not want to do that. our focus is on ensuring that when the application comes in for a road sign, for example, I gotta send my folks out to do an inspection. They gotta do surveys. They gotta get highway staff involved to make sure that the line of sight is not impeded, so that to prevent accidents. This costs time and money, so we only want to collect enough for us to do the work and get paid for that. Otherwise, it'll be a loss in terms of costs such as fuel, time, and the like. So it is evolving, and we're making these adjustments as we go. But yes, definitely. I mean, normally, when an office that has funding source from a grant, and we're only talking about $50 or so, why are they making such a big fuss about it? But we're being flexible, and we try to work with them. But if we see that they're just trying to take advantage, then we'll definitely take that into consideration.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Sec. Thank you, Sir Moon. So I guess Secno, the road maintenance is the only revolving account that you can touch, really, other than the tipping fee.
That's correct, and I really do not want to touch the tipping fee because I've already done the math. And solid waste operations, the landfill, we're not collecting enough to operate the landfill. I've actually changed the procurement process for the next bidder for the landfill. In the past, it was just a flat rate, roughly about 106,000 a month, whether 20 tons of trash gets processed through the landfill or 5. So we modified it. The RFP that went out is based on performance, so it's tied to benchmarks, right? So it's performance based. Like I said, we're now, if you will be paid based on the amount of work that is being sourced. So it should drop down the cost for operating the landfill, but at the same time, it will also prevent solid waste from being forced to raise the tipping fee, because, as you know, the economy is not doing really well, and we don't want to exacerbate the trash being dumped along the beaches or in the boonies by raising tipping fees. We want to keep it at bay, but at the same time, hoping that once this comprehensive integrated solid waste master plan is adopted and we start to draw down from the SADRA grants, we'll start to roll out recycling measures and programs so that we can divert the trash that would normally go to the landfill to get processed. I know the Senate just passed the Senate Bill 24-8, the Semi Recycling Act of 1999, and all it does is changes the authority from DEQ to DPW. This is a critical bill that we need so that the department can continue forward with the recycling program by diverting the cans and plastic bottles for example, the 555 program and the 511 program that had done so far. We know it works because we saw less trash and with cans amongst the refuse being dumped at the landfill. It's being diverted, but it only will work if the program is in place, and right now we don't have that authority. So we critically need this passed at the soonest possible session.
Senate Bill 24.
24-8.
That's Manny Coster's bill, right?
Yes, that's
the
correct.
recycled bill from the last legislature.
Correct.
All right. What about the ASADRA grants?
So, okay, so The Asaja grant is it's an EPA grant. They're actually managing the grant. It was congressionally approved funding for states and territories dealing with the trash from calamities. So the funds are currently locked. It's not subject to expiration. So as soon as the comprehensive plan is adopted by or accepted by EPA and placed in the federal register as adopted, then we can begin the drawdown so that we can start to roll out these recycling programs. So right now, the US EPA allow the department to procure a multi-shredder, and it's currently operating up at the landfill and is shredding all the debris that was collected from Typhoon Yutu. And we have a contractor that we hired to do the processing of the refuse. I have actually a nice photo here if you guys want to see it of the equipment operating.
Sec, that would include Rhoda and Tinian, no, on the grant.
Yes, Rhoda and Tinian has their allocation share.
Is it 5 mil, or
It's
is it?
I believe it's like 10 million each, but they have done some drawdowns for emergency procurement of sorts. So it's a little less, but definitely more than 5 in terms of the available balance.
All right, thanks. Just want to make sure that Rep. Julie hears that. So, on the vacancies, how long have these vacancies been open? And I ask this because you guys have requested for additional NOPs, most especially on roads and grounds. And if we can be creative in moving the funds, not closing those vacancies, but to be able to at least move funds. If these vacancies have been around for a couple of years, we might as well move the funds and address the needs right now.
Okay, I'll have Director Mike speak to the vacancies that he's been requesting for, and of course, I know he's.
No, but the vacancies that you have right now,
And
these
then,
60,000, 40,000,
I'll have,
how long have those been vacant? And
right.
if it's been vacant for a while, we might as well move
I'll
some
have
funds to address.
Director Peter Camacho speak to that part. Thanks.
Vice, just to give an update, last fiscal year, we collaboratively worked with our director, Mike Borja, and we actually, through WI's efforts and the DPW, we actually requested WI employees. And then after that, thanks to the legislature for giving us an additional FT, we managed to convert those WIAs to our DPW accounts. We are doing the same thing for this fiscal year. Once we get an approval from WIA, pending any legislation to allow the use of the road maintenance account to help roads and grounds. That's one way that we're working with Director Mike to assist his division. Other things that we're trying to do at roads and grounds and even at solid waste is that we have currently right now going through an equipment operator certification program training so that we can also have our staff at roads and grounds and solid waste get certified through NMTI. That is currently going on right now, and it'll go all the way down up to the next fiscal year. That includes also for Rhoda and Tinian, for their solid waste staff and some of their roads and ground staff kind of commingle to help each other. But having an additional help of modifying legislation to allow the roads and grounds to hire under the road maintenance for personal needs is much appreciated at this time. I know that with all the new roads that are being paved, new drainages and whatnot, the boys are kind of stretched thin because they have to go out, in different locations. Like the secretary mentioned earlier, that thanks to other agencies like Parks and Rec, legislature, and the mayor's office, collaboratively helping each other, that's a big help. But if we have the appropriate staffing and the needs, like I said, more roads, more drainages, more things to maintain, yeah, it costs more personnel to help. So I would probably defer that how many personnel that Director Mike might need, but any help to give every fiscal year in terms of personnel is a big help. Maybe we can't get everything at once, but at least little by little, while we build our personnel staffing. Just to let you know, other things that we've been working on lately are trying to build a capacity in terms of equipment. Mr. Borja, Director Borja has recently received also a low boy, what do you call that? Water tanker, no, Mike? Director Mike?
Vacuum truck.
Vacuum truck and even a water tanker. I think that was a previous grant submission under the maintenance program. So we're trying our best. Like I said, if we can get it locally, we'll go after grants, and if we get approved, hopefully there's enough money to procure it through a bid. If not, then we'll definitely knock on your door to either give us the additional funds to help us, or we'll find other ways or means like to take it out of the road maintenance. But either way, any support to enhance and improve our department is much welcome.
Actually, Chairman, if I may, as for now, we have 22 employees at Roads and Ground. I would like to thank last fiscal the Workforce Investment Agency. We work collaboratively, and we trained them for a couple of years, and then we transitioned them to permanent. So we have those employees now working with on the Roads and Ground on the permanent. We did send our request again for WIA, for our people to be trained again and then transition to the workforce. And also not only manpower that we really need at Roads and Ground, we really in dire need of heavy equipment such as the NCY dump truck, road sweeper. There's a lot of road that are Route 36, beach road improvement. So we're in dire need of road sweeper and also a roller compactor and a compact backhoe, because we are handling the public cemetery and also the veteran cemetery. So, we've been limited employee. We've been around trying to accommodate our people. And, sometimes we're always into the secondary because, a lot of people are calling that they need a secondary road repair. So we're not just concentrating on the primary. Every time they talk about the maintenance, road maintenance money, if they find another source of funding to address the street light, I think that road maintenance will take care of everything. But actually, Secretary, we're using the road maintenance for rental or whatsoever, and also the street light. So when you look at the road maintenance and you look at the street light, if they find another funding source for the street light or take it out from public works, we'll be all right on the road maintenance revolving fund. So with that, I'm not asking too much, but at least, if we can help us out too on heavy equipment and also on the heavy equipment repair funding. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And so I guess the question goes back. Are you guys okay if we move those funds to address the needs right now?
I mean, allowing us to have flexibility is always a plus. That way, we don't have to come back and in crisis mode and say, look,
We'll give you
up
guys the
against the wall.
maintenance. Don't get us wrong. That's gonna be in the budget. It's gonna give you guys flexibility to use your funds unilaterally up and down, however you want it, and that's gonna be for every single department for your revolving accounts. But the thing is here, these positions have been vacant for quite some time, and in deep OPM's telling you guys that there's nobody qualified that's applying for the positions.
Right, that's
Would-
in the case of the building safety official engineers, the
Sure.
professionals. Yeah, definitely.
With the engineers, you have 21-9 that can protect you guys in raising those salaries, but you're looking at entry level salaries or even a takeover after we had done it takes them for what 6 months to 1 year, and then you can convert them, and
yes.
hopefully by this time next year where we have better collections and we can actually permanently address the employment of these people under WIA with DPW.
Right. Yes.
No? So,
Definitely. Thank you, Congressman.
All right, thank you, and please, those projects, those federally obligated projects that were local funds were utilized. I asked that if we can get the breakdown of those numbers so that we can request Federal Highway to reimburse DPW. I'm not asking for the money to come back to the delegation for appropriation purposes, but to give it back to DPW so that they can utilize those funds to address DPW's needs, whether it's getting equipment, whatever. Will allow you guys to do as you please.
Yeah, definitely, Congressman. We'll look into that. But the main funding source that Federal Highway gives us is the annual allocation. I believe that's about 4 million and some change, less about almost 800,000 to a million for operations. That pays for the salaries of the highway office staff, and then the remainder is what we use. But
I do understand, Sec, but if we don't try, we're never gonna know if we're gonna be able to avail to those reimbursements, no? So
Right.
we might as well try. We're doing the same thing with the CIP office. A lot of CIP projects that probably went through DPW that we're gonna try to get the CIP office to reimburse those local funds that actually paid for CIP projects within the respective senatorial districts. And those we would like back for us to appropriate. But for DPW, you guys can keep the money. Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
once we head back to the office, definitely we'll look into it and then see if we can get that reimbursed. And I'll be sure to notify your office if we are successful.
Thank you, Sec, and I yield my time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice. And just a follow-up on the on Federal Highway Secretary. I know that the ongoing Beach Road project, right? So it's perhaps almost on completion on the phase that has started, which is phase 2, right?
Correct. It's actually all three, phase 2, 3, and 4. We're focused on phase 2.
Right.
NMHC's working on phase 3 and 4 for us.
Okay. And so my question would be, in any way, is your department working with CODA? Because that strip there, the beach road from perhaps Cobbler to Garpan, has a lot of transit bus stop. And so my question would be, is it justifiable on the Federal Highway project right now to work with CODA to kind of add those road markings too for those stops? Or are there any works with your department and CODA with regards to those shuttle
Yeah,
stops, those
yes.
public transit stops?
Yeah, CODA does have a funding source for under the T-tip that they can have the installation of what we call turnouts, so that the buses can pull over to the side and either take on or offload passengers, and then of course to put a stripe, for example, for a crosswalk.
Yeah, but with this project right now, there's no room for going to
Yeah,
the
and
side. So there's legislation actually that is in the Senate right now that's authorizing them to make the stop on those on the roadside. So it's very important just for safety, right? That we kind of make sure that the road markings are perhaps added in this project
Yeah,
so
for
that
the-
for safety.
Right, for the
purposes.
main roads, we do have a hazard elimination funding source for that. that we can tap to stripe and put up these signages for the crosswalks.
But nothing now with the current design of the current project.
No, unfortunately, when the phase two project was in development, CODA did not. This is my understanding. This is before my time. CODA did not approach DPW at the time to ask for these considerations. That's why, if you notice, there's only one turnout, which is across the courthouse.
Right.
There could have been more along phase two of the road project for CODA, but it did not happen. So we're working with them however we can, but we're a little bit hamstrung. We can definitely go deeper, but it's going to cost more because we're going to have to redesign the crosswalks, and the sidewalks would have to be relocated
Right.
to make those considerations. So yeah, it's very unfortunate that it wasn't timed right, but we're open to working with them because I do believe in a transit system. It does work. We see their number of patrons increasing,
Right.
so we do want to work with them.
Okay. Thank you for that response. And this time I recognize Representative Angelo Kamatsu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Secretary and your
Good
team.
morning.
Just real quick, so I'm just trying to get an understanding here with all the federal or federally funded road projects. I'm just curious to know if there's any language or requirement where DPW would have to maintain the roads. Let's say if it's not properly maintained due to negligence, would it affect the likelihood to
Yes.
receive future federal funding?
No, it's not really the future. It's that once the road is awarded for through federal funds to have it paved, right? If we don't do it right, the expectation from federal highways that road needs to last at least 20 years, 30 in that range. If it fails before that, then it's on us to repair it. There won't be federal funds to repair what they've expected to have been done correctly the first time around. That's why if you notice the intersection going to the post office, it wasn't touched because that section was done through a prior federal funded, through federal highway. It was funded not too long ago. So in order for us to work on that, we're going to have to be creative to look for alternate source of funding, or if it's a real hazard, we can ask for consideration because the road is hazardous. The phase 3 and 4, we were fortunate that the CDBG block grant under disaster relief covered the retopping. That was a huge feat done by NMHC, and I applaud them for that. That was very creative. But yeah, generally speaking, if we go in and do a road project that was federally funded, it's highly unlikely it'll be funding will come back again within a short period because the expectation is it should have been done correctly the first time.
So on the federal side, they don't offer some sort of funding to maintain, or
No,
so it's the local
it's on the state.
state obligation.
It's kind of akin to just like other departments and agencies of this government, where federal funds comes in to pay for the construction of a facility, a building. There's no federal funds to maintain the facility. It comes from the state, generally.
The reason why I asked is because the director mentioned that you guys currently do not have a sweeper, and I'm just thinking
Correct.
it's part of the maintenance process, and also I don't believe I heard. I think the chairman mentioned that there was an additional 4 FTEs requested for roads and grounds. Just wondering if that's suitable for
Those
cover
are
the whole
for
island, or-
right. Those are for heavy equipment operators. So yeah, one could be used to operate the street sweeper, for example. We have reached out to Office of Grants Management, Mr. Epi Cabrera, to seek through his office if he's able to procure a road sweeper for the department. I do know that Governor Art Palacios had made that a priority for us, so we're just waiting for communication from Mr. Cabrera if he was successful or not. But yes, on average, I believe street sweeper would be about 100,000, 80 to 100,000. If I were to put out a contract, an annual contract for street sweepings, probably going to cost about 30,000. So,
Okay, so out of the 22 current staff, I guess my question would be like how many out of the 22 are currently like doing the road shoulder maintenance, like cutting grass?
I'll let director answer that.
Actually, Congressman, we have 22 employees, so we're asking for another 4 additional for now. So what we will do is that we will escalate the current employees, and then we will open the 4 for the entry level.
But how many current staff are like doing the grass cutting? How many out there right now?
We got 22.
How many-
Just
All 22 cutting grass?
all of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I think that's to cover the whole island.
So actually, what we're asking is not we're asking for entry level trades technician helper. So you
That's
know
true,
we'll-
yeah.
because there's 2 open just recently, just a month ago, 2 resigned, and they are operators. So what we're planning to escalate, do an in-house promotion, and then open for the 4 position for entry level.
Okay, thank you. And then I guess my next question would be for building code. I know there's so much constructions going on, especially with the CDG DR, and it currently states that, or listed, that there's only 3 inspectors, including the supervisor, but I do know there's like about 5 current inspectors. Do you feel like that's a suitable number, or do you guys feel like you guys need additional inspectors to cover all these bases? I mean, the reason why I asked is because I was once there, and it doesn't take, it takes a while to inspect one location. So, I mean, with the influx of constructions with the residential side, and, I do see some commercial constructions as well. I'm just curious if, 5 inspectors is enough to cover that whole grounds. And were there any requests for additional FTEs for inspectors, or you guys are okay?
Okay, thank you. I'll have Ms. Yvonne Tenorio, acting building safety official, speak to that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Congressman Camacho, for your question. So yes, we actually need maybe like additional 1, but we were not able to request for an additional FTE. Rather, we had to request for a civil engineer or structural engineer. So we were granted for that FTE, but I hope they can grant us. Can you grant us 1 additional inspector at least?
I think the chairman is taking notes right now, so. Thank you for that. And then I guess my last question would be for the solid waste division. So can DPW clarify whether your current or proposed budget is financially sufficient to meet solid waste management obligations, basically to avoid penalties or fines? I know that's always been an issue with EPA, and what's the current status on that? Is there any violations or pending fees?
Okay, right now, Congressman, the landfill and the transfer station have no notices of violations. We are operating within the regulations as imposed by DEQ, CRM, and the like. We are in compliance, and we're happy about that. As far as funding, of course, funding is a challenge. That's why for example, the landfill contract that's currently out to bid for this bid will award the contractor of the landfill another a 5-year contract, 3+2, to operate. And I'm hoping that the way the structure of the RFP will help bring the price down, because if we're going to be paying $106,000 a month, you can do the math already. That's over $1.2 million a year, taken out of the solid waste revolving account. And then on top of that, we still need to pay for the company that services the transfer station that ships out recyclables. We're talking about the metals, the cans, plastics, e-waste, tires. I believe in a 1-year span, I mentioned in the last budget hearing, we paid close to over $250,000 and just under shy of $500,000 just to ship out 8 containers worth of used tires. Okay, and that's coming out of the solid waste account. So when we add all of this up, it is going to force the account to go into negative. In fact, the account is currently negative because of contracts that have been processed, especially the recycling contracts that we're obligated to do. Because if we allow the transfer station to continue to accumulate recyclables, that's when I get a nice call from DEQ saying we need to do something about it, and start shipping out. And that's what we're trying to avoid. That's why the waste diversion. But we can't really have an effective waste diversion if we don't have the enabling act, so that we can begin the process of promulgating the rules. The used tires, for example, if we show you the numbers, where tires is really a very interesting example, because it's bulky, it's big. Customs can easily count the number of tires coming into the Commonwealth. They can collect the tax on that. They know how many tires goes to a distributor, who then can report out how many of those tires goes to the tire shops dotted across the Saipan, for example. And then when they sell their tires, the first question that comes up is, what happens to the used tires? Where do they end up going? It's not illegal in a sense to stockpile tires at, let's say, someone's property. It's not a hazardous material. The only time tires become hazardous is if it's lit on fire, if it burns.
Or
Then
health
it creates
concerns,
a problem.
Mosquitoes.
Right.
Whatnot.
So when the tires end up in the boonies, in the beaches, and it gets collected and brought in, we don't really collect a fee, because the person or entity that collects it will file. We tell them, put in a statement stating that it was trash that was abandoned, and that do a report, so that the agencies such as Fish and Wildlife or DEQ enforcement can be aware of the location, so that it can keep tabs, so that they can catch the perpetrators. But in a nutshell, we're not, the math is not mathing. There should be, I believe, like a $5 per tire fee, so that we can dispose of the tires. But even if we do the math on the number of tires coming in versus the number of tires we're shipping out, that $5 per tire fee is not enough. But we try to make it work, because when we send tires out, we try to bale it, compress it, so that we can send many tires out in a container. Fortunately, we do have the multi-shredder that's operating up in Marpi. Soon it'll be done shredding all the U2 debris, and we're gonna refocus that to start shredding tires, so that we can make it more dense. We don't want to really ship it off island. If we can process it and repurpose it here, if we can use it as a cover material for the landfill, we'll do so. if there are any other uses for it or that's allowable by DQ. We're more than happy to look into that. Guam, I believe, has been experimenting in taking shredded tire material and making it a part of a leaching field for those homes that don't have access to sewer, city sewer, for example. Right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So you said you were negative on that account, so that 656,000 is actually zero? Or
Maybe Congressman, just to just to clarify some of the services that we have at solid waste. Solid waste is made up of several components that are permitted by BECQ, under EPA standards. So, Morphe landfill there's a requirement for gas and water testing. Just to give you an idea of how much it costs to run solid waste. We have a contract with APEC for a 2-year period that will be expiring in 2026. That contract total amount is $199,827.42. Just need to test the gas. So that's a monthly test that they perform for gas and water. We also have a contract that's $500,000. That's for a 2-year period. That's to run our recycling facility down in Lower Base. Like the secretary said, there's the things that are being processed there is the crushed glass, Bell aluminum, Bell plastic bottles, Bell cardboard and papers. Just to give you an idea of if you guys ever go down to solid waste and see the amount of tires, we just recently have a new tire baler. For each bale, it contains 48 to 50 tires in each bale. Right now, we have currently 218 bales counted last week. So, given the minimum number, 48 tires per bale times 218, that's 10,464 tires. So, and that's not even half of the pile. The last contract that we shipped off for tires, which went to Korea, which is the cheapest actually because we have to do a bit. That one is 188,000. If we were to ship it to the U.S., you're probably looking at triple the price or more. So like the secretary said, that's like 40 some containers. We also have pest control, for the facility that's required, for rodents, whatnot within the facility. We also have a shipment of e-waste. E-waste, the last time we shipped e-waste was back in January of 2025. That contract cost $192,000. A lot of this e-waste is collected majority is from PSS or other government entities. They don't pay, they don't have the funds or budget to pay for tipping fee, but the e-waste has got to go somewhere, and this kind of waste material, mind you guys, tires is accumulative, e-waste is accumulative, household hazardous waste from residential is accumulative. So it's not like a one-time thing that every year we're gonna be looking at this cost. But if we look at it, so maybe in a 2-year period or 3-year period, if those accumulate, then we're looking at those costs, and then we have our regulators that come over, BECQ, and sometimes we do have a surprise inspection from EPA. So when they come to our facility and says, hey, why so much tires? Why so much e-waste? Why so much? So the cost of doing business for solid waste is not easy. And like I said, history would show that we used to get 10% out of the beautification tax. It was reduced to 7%. The 3% went to cancer, and then later on, over the years, we have suspension of UMARC, and then it's very hard. So if you look at the negative is attributed to a lot of factors. But in the end of the day, we don't want to get the NOVs, we don't want to get the penalties. So we want to be able to own up to the permit and the facility, so we can be able to run it as sound as possible. But we're not only lking at the downtime for equipment and maintenance. We're also looking at the replacement of equipment. I'll tell you that the baler that we have for our tires was the original baler that we had when the facility first opened. We're lucky enough to replace that baler. So we're trying our best. It's just that bottom line is that we need the money and the support to help our agency run the facility. And if we the last thing that we want is that we don't want is to end up like Guam having a receivership. So right now we're working with US EPA to analyze our expenses and our operation. EPA just through the SADA grant hired a consultant, Technotrek, so that we can be able to provide as much as possible in regards to our personnel, our utility, our operation expense, and whatever we outsource. Hopefully, by the time we get those, we've given them some information. Hopefully, we're having meetings every week so that we can join back and forth with our team. And it's not only us; it's even for Rod and Tinian. So that it's for the comprehensive master plan. Once they have all the figures and everything dialed in, like the boss said, once they have the master plan, it's been approved, and that will give way for the department to spend the money to based on the master plan of Saipan, Tinian, and Aurora for solid waste. But I'm just giving you a snapshot picture of some of the expense that are associated for solid waste. So like I said, sometimes the mayor would bring in a dump truck. I think a dump truck full of tires. I think our staff were telling us that they brought in maybe like 600 tires. So that's a lot of tires. I believe Congressman Kawasu, you did a cleanup at one of the I guess it was a ponding basin that was you also saw that there were a lot of illegal dump of tires. So tires is a problem, but eventually, we have to deal with it. And when it comes to our facility, there's no magic number. Like the boss said, we're charging a certain number, but if we pick up the price, then we see these tires go in the jungle, or people will not pay, or illegal dumping. So I think the idea is that if it comes to our facility, then we can probably best manage it the best we can. But definitely, there's room for improvement to adjust some of the fees. But if we adjust the fees to a certain point, we might also end up seeing a lot of those, recyclables or tires or items would not go to a facility, probably be dumped illegally. But just sharing some of the information so that you guys can have a better picture.
Thank you, and we appreciate that. And I guess that's all the questions that I had. So we truly appreciate all the hard work that you guys do, and keep it up. Vice, I yield my time.
Thank you, Rep Camacho. Rep Marissa Flores, please.
Thank you. Guess I'll try to keep it quick here since we're coming up to the 12 o'clock hour. Thank you, Secretary, and your team for coming by. And let me just go backwards and we'll work forward. So, Mr. Borja, you mentioned that you had picked up some WIA individuals in 2024, and they've transitioned into full-time FTE. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good. And you are corresponding with WIA for more of these partnerships. Am I right?
Yep.
Thank you for that. I think that takes a lot of desire to want to help and place younger generation, younger kids into the workforce. And so I'd like to applaud you for that. Secretary, real quick, on June 12, 2024, the acting Secretary of Public Works at the time issued a notice or a letter to Kevin Watson, the CEO for CUC, and the subject matter was request for GIS data and map layers for the Saipan streetlights. Has that been done?
We actually, I do have I don't have the update. I do have one that I brought with me. It was prepared by Mr. Ed T. Marcel. I have it here.
Can we take a look at that?
show you the big map. There we go.
Yeah, can I see?
Can you want to zoom in on that? No.
I'm just curious because there's a follow-up question I'd like to ask
Pega na
about.
papagay.
So take me through this map, Secretary, for my question. There's plenty colors, so F1 is feeder 1. What village is that?
Gosh, that should be. It's right there. It's color
Precinct
coded.
3, Capitol Hill?
Precinct, yeah,
Okay, then 260 lights.
correct.
Are they all working?
I would say no, not
How
all.
many? No?
We don't really have that number. I did put out a press release not too long ago. I asked a right-of-way office to spearhead it. We did get a few calls in, but it's been sporadic. So I did put out subsequent comments to in the media saying that we're asking the public's assistance that if you have a street light in front of your home, your property, anywhere in between, take a note of it, take a photo of the utility pole if it has a number, and to call CUC directly, their trouble desk, and report it, and also report it into us so that CUC can make a ticket so that they can go and correct the problem, whether it's burnt out by the bulb, the fixture, or maybe the transformer blew out.
Okay, so
Because if we were to try to receive everything, it gets complicated, and we're just trying to disseminate this so that we get
Okay.
the community involved. Because the problem is whether or not the fixture is operating, we're still paying the bill, the monthly flat rate.
all right, so would you know how many of these are solar?
I would say
Majority?
they're not.
None?
They're not.
How much do you pay CUC for these lights?
We're about over $126,000 a month on average. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
And we don't know if they work or not.
Yes, I would say about 95 to 97% are.
Will you be asking them for a credit at some point?
And that's the tricky part. From what point? Because if it's hard to say. That's why for me I can either send my staff out in the evenings to go hunt down these traffic or the street lights that are non-op, or I ask the community. Right now, we're just asking. We just want the lights on because we're paying
Right,
for it.
and I get that because in my precinct, I'll tell you what, it's pretty dark.
Yeah.
And we have several discussions about this because in Middle Road, where it's really traffic, that's like the freeway of Saipan.
So I do have another map. This shows, based on the date, this was as of August 2024, we have about 218 streetlights that are operable, non-ops, and you can see it in red.
Oh, yes, I would like to see that, please. It's really funny how, Secretary, you probably assumed that we were going to ask a question, so you brought the whole map with you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, wait till we get to road cuttings.
So the red indicators here are damaged, but all of this data was collected by your office.
That was
CC.
that was taken by CUC.
See, can't even say their name without choking on.
So Ed
Okay.
Timerso also functions as my GIS expert. He's the person in charge handling.
All right,
that
so
for
we
us,
know that
so-
you pay them 100 and some thousand per month.
Correct.
That's a lot of money, and we don't know. So can you update me then? Moving forward, what is your plan? Will you be sending CUC a letter letting them know that you have some lights here that are not working. It would be feasible if you convert over into solar.
Right now, I do not have the funding source for the conversion, but I do know that if Congressman O'Donnell's bill that's currently in committee, I believe, if that
Okay.
passes into law, that should at least allow my office to begin the transition. We want to start with the street lights along the main roads first, and slowly just transition. I'm gonna need a follow-on
Okay.
legislation to that we can talk about later.
Sure, the chairman for infrastructure and utility is right here. I'm pretty sure he'd love to pass another legislation that'll help you out. Okay, thank you, and let's move right along. I just wanted to know the updates from the 2023 budget hearing for 2024. Let me shift over to solid waste management. Mr. Blas, Mr. Muffness, real quick. So we see in majority of your staff, and I guess the majority of DPW, is civil service. So under your supervision, you also have one vacancy in Tinian, one vacancy in Rhoda, which is the solid waste maintenance supervisor. Is that correct?
Yeah, according to the budget submitted from what we received.
Okay.
Congresswoman Marissa, yeah, good morning, everybody. Actually, when it comes to road and tin, and we kind of just have that submitted by themselves. What they do with their vacancy, really, sometimes it's just, we don't know when it's going to be filled or if they're processing their papers.
So you leave that up to the municipality to decide that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so just so that we're clear, that these two vacancies, and for the record, under Solid Waste Management Division, you are working very closely with them, but also respect that and understand that the municipality is in charge of deciding who they would be retaining for this vacancy. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so I suppose that these haven't been filled yet, to your knowledge?
Congresswoman, I spoke to Tinan. So the position for the solid waste maintenance and landfill supervisor has been already filled. They have the criminal operator 1 and the criminal operator 2. According to them, they have selected a candidate for that, and the paper is currently routing, pending the finalization of the documents.
All right. And the mayor also has 100% autonomy when dealing with their scale, or, I mean, how does this work? Because they're in Tinian. Do they work with you?
They do have representatives from each island for their solid waste management. They usually, whenever they need some guidance, they always, seek stipends for those issues, whether it be equipment or whatnot, and even for their personnel. But all those requests would have to pass through still
Got you.
through the secretary.
Okay, because I'm looking at your organizational chart that you presented in 2024. Is this still correct? Is this still updated? From solid waste?
I can't see, that's too far.
Because what we don't see here is a road and Tinian area.
Yeah, and like Mr. Muffin said, those organizational chart would be provided for their tenant side. The funding source is just only tapped into stipend.
Right. I think we
Yeah.
should just update it here, because then we know exactly what we're funding.
Yeah. So we do have for stipend, but I don't have a copy for Tinan and Rora.
Okay, that would be good to see. Otherwise, you can fit them in here, right? What's your flow chart? If we're funding it, then it should be in here, correct? Regardless of which municipality or senatorial district,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, thank you. And then let's go to the weatherization, I'm sorry, this is Energy Division. So this organizational chart is still up to date?
Yes, it should be.
Okay, Secretary, you have a weatherization assistant program, and then you have a program manager. Is that program manager still assisting this program? WAP, I guess that's what it's called?
Okay. Which one is the manager? Yeah, they're all there. Oh, yeah, they're all there.
Okay. And then the Tanian Energy Auditor and Rhoda Energy Auditor, have those been filled?
No, those are still vacant. Apparently, no one applied, surprisingly.
Okay. And so that brings me to the next question in regard to vacancies and these hard-to-fill positions. Are you just using OPM as its source for recruitment?
Yes, we're required to.
You don't want to use anybody else, like Indeed, where you don't have to pay anything?
Well, we can use those platforms to advertise, but everything still needs to go through OPM. But I have not really gone to that level. I was working with NMC to get our vacancies over to their to the college so that it can be advertised.
And so these would be FTEs for accepted service at minimum 2 years, correct?
No, 1 year. It's annual,
Annual, so every year?
every year.
Huh, maybe that's probably the problem.
It's,
Why does it, can't you just lift that up to like 5 years?
no, it's because it's those positions. I'm assuming you're talking about like energy office, so it's a grant. The grant.
Okay, so even your other hard-to-fill positions that are not federally funded, that are locally sourced?
Pete can answer
Yeah,
that
all
for.
contracts that are processed currently by the government is only subjected to 1 year.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe some of the incentives, right, that we can negotiate is maybe no taxes. They don't have to pay tax when they come here. Maybe housing. I mean, CHCC has been an expert at recruitment for specialty fields. And, you know, there's always ways that we can fill these positions, especially when you're dealing with the mission of public works, right? And so I'm just trying to kind of offer some kind of resolution, because if these positions aren't filled, I'm assuming that it's not really impactful to the services that you provide, correct?
It is impactful to the point where we can't provide additional services. We're only just limited to
HoR service,
Exactly. Honestly.
that's a problem.
Yep.
Okay. Well, just kind of talk to OPM real quick and see how else you guys can fill this. Because like I said, in my precinct alone on Middle Road, which is, you know, I mean, there's 6 of us, but if you look at us, you can already say, oh, that's Oliai, you already know who's there. If you say over here, that's Navy Hill, you already know who's there, right? And so it's almost like we're broken into these parcels. But where I'm positioned, it is almost like a half industrial, half residential, half commercial, half everything. Everything's half where I'm at. The road is in horrible state. There's no way for these individuals to make middle turns to the left, turns to the right. I don't know whose design flaw that was, but the fact that even Federal Highway approved that without a middle lane is quite daunting to me. But is there anything in the works with DPW as far as federal grants through Federal Highway to rectify that problem in Middle Road?
So we do have plans for Middle Road. Henry, why don't you come up and give a brief to the members about Middle Road, our plans for repaving.
And Secretary, I'm gonna, once he's done with that, there's another question that would be followed up to that because of the easement.
Sure.
And the right-of-way in that area.
Of course.
Okay, good morning. So we have a shovel-ready design for
Okay.
Middle Road. That's from ITNE intersection all the way to Navy Hill.
All the way to where?
Navy Hill.
Navy Hill, okay.
Navy Hill intersection.
Okay.
So the design is to because of the easement, we cannot provide turning lane. So the design is to provide a raised median, similar to that Marine Drive in.
Also
in
come up
Guam.
like this and then kind of go around and then take you into another area?
Yeah, there is a designated U-turn slats.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good because when you're talking about public works and you're talking about road, you also talk about safety. And when you don't offer during times of an emergency and people get their license when they're coming and they don't move right, it's hard to do that. Right? You have the ambulance in Middle Road coming and you see people driving and they're not sure what to do because everyone going south, assuming the ambulance is going that way, is just kind of like, oh boy, whatever, and they just pull over or they just keep driving. And there's really just, it's not safe, Secretary. That Middle Road needs some help there because it's not safe and it's dark. It needs more light. If you can, maybe we can sit and discuss that, I would be very happy. Now, we were talking earlier, Secretary, about special funds. And I was just looking at this earlier, which was quite interesting to me because I'm trying to put local appropriation together. But Ms. Vicky, indulge me here real quick. So we have Saipan local law. Okay, here's organizational number 512-00700. So Saipan local law 2026. It says precinct 2. I'm assuming that's what it is. Various projects, right? And then 7190D. Does that say that it's for precinct 2? Not that I have anything against, I'm getting there real quick. I need to understand this because this is just, I'm just reading this, I'm like, oh. I'm not trying
Did
to
you
do that.
mention 7190E?
D. And there's an E also.
So the E is saying it's precinct 3 water drainage.
Okay, and then 7190D is precinct 2, various projects. Under the same local law, correct?
DE. Just give me a few minutes.
Okay.
I'm just, there's so many accounts. Okay, 7190D
Uh-huh,
is showing as a precinct 2 various project.
great. And then 7190M, same local law.
The description on the bottom, it just says P facilities on DPL operations or something. It doesn't say which precinct.
So then it's assuming that it's up for grabs if it doesn't say which precinct, right? And it just
No,
appropriates money.
It's identified.
Okay,
M, right?
just want to make sure.
Okay, yeah,
Trying to
that's-
scare my chairman little bit in the ha.
I'm not worried about precinct 2 funds.
No, I know you're not.
That's for sure.
Okay,
So-
the 7190M, that's to construct baseball field and other related facilities on DPL designated land. That falls under precinct 4.
Okay, that's good. All right, so everyone under the Saipan local law had some kind of
That's
appropriation,
about 40.
right?
1,000.
Okay, just want to
Yes.
make sure, because I'm just trying to understand this. Okay.
I'll have Crystal Guerrero speak to that if you have any
No,
questions on
I don't have any
delegation
questions.
funds.
But there's money there. So when you said precinct 3, which is 7190E, that's for the water drainage. So there's still funding there, Ms. V, correct? And that's probably what we can use also for some precinct 3 improvements. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Well, if I may just go back to that, so if it's specific appropriated for water, then it can only be used
For water. Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, it would require appropriation under delegation.
Okay, Secretary, so you have full autonomy. You can reprogram if you like.
No,
You
cannot.
cannot?
If
Okay.
it's spelled out, I cannot.
Okay, wonderful. So, but Road and Tinian has, the municipality has that power. Is that right?
Yeah, for quite some time, the delegation had respective delegations are just appropriating
Okay.
directly to
So they
their
be the one to
municipality.
funnel the money to them. Okay.
Yes.
So my last question is, I noticed on the building safety division that there were several individuals there also listed, employees. But I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, Secretary. I know that in the 23rd legislature, Rep. Angelo proposed legislation that will convert these individuals under this division into civil service.
Right.
And are they civil service? Because right now they're saying it's ungraded.
Yeah, they're still classified as accepted service.
How does that, why? I mean, isn't that a problem? Wouldn't that be problematic?
The bill's in the Senate, but the question is why it hasn't been changed ever since. It's because those positions are considered professionals, kind of like engineers and the
Okay.
like. So that's why it's
Okay,
exempted
all right,
service.
so that now I understand. Okay, is there any interest to convert them over?
Yeah, right now for the building safety code, I mean, these folks have been there for multiple years already. That they've kind of mastered their skills. So yeah, I don't have generally I don't have any issues having them converted to civil service.
Okay, all right, how many MOUs do you have currently within your organization?
When you say MOUs with just any agency in general, or
Yeah, everyone, MOUs, MOAs?
I haven't signed any.
Okay.
Recently, right now I'm working on one with the Commonwealth Ports Authority for
Okay.
the road leading into the airport from the intersection of Airport Road and Flame Tree Drive.
Okay,
That MOU is needed in order for Highway Office to utilize federal funds to pave that section of road.
okay. And so then, we're now talking, obviously the revenue generating areas in which should be given to you. So Title IV, under the Economic Resource Section, Division 1, Revenue Tax, subsection 1995, Special Gross Revenue from Qualifying Construction Projects, CRQCP account. Any activity here?
I'm sorry, before I answer that, Director Blas just brought up, I do have one MOU that I did
Oh, okay.
sign for solid waste.
Okay,
So a company called Outech had come to the CNMI and met with my office, Governor's office,
Okay.
Attorney General's office. We have in our possession a pyrolysis equipment that's currently sitting in lower base at the Roads and Grounds facility. It was procured through federal grant under Mr. Epi Cabrera's office. And the pyrolysis equipment, I put out a request. It's informal, just to see if there's anyone interested in operating a pyrolysis equipment. For us, granted that they have to seek approval from EPA and the like. Altus approached our office and through
Okay.
negotiation with the governor's office, AG's office, and my office, we executed an MOU.
okay,
So
wonderful.
this MOU basically will give Altus the opportunity to take our usable waste and convert it to biofuel.
Okay,
And the source is going to be basically rubber tires, plastics, any form of plastics in general. So,
recyclable
Right.
products
So if
converted into
this-
other products.
right. So if this comes to fruition within the next year,
Okay,
it'll actually solve our solid waste problem with shipping out of
Tires.
recyclables. Yes,
okay,
and
good.
also reduce the number of waste going into the landfill.
Wonderful. Yeah, all of us are about keeping our environment healthy and safe. Okay, so any update on the special gross revenue from qualifying construction projects? Because we see that 50% shall be appropriated to the third senatorial district, to the CNMI Department of Public Works.
Okay, so the first I've actually come across that is a change order, I believe, Henry. The Route 36 from RMV. They put in for a change order because of the now in effect local law and CNMI law on the construction tax. So I can tell you right now that we are processing that for approval according to both local law and CNMI law. So that's in the works right now, pending approval from Federal Highway, and it's just a process because now they're coming back saying that because of this new law, they're asking for a change order to cost because it's something that was unforeseen.
Of course, a lot of money to be made in this change order. It's problematic. So, okay. And then, can you give us an update then once you kind of settle that, sir, and get that process all going? Ms. V, is there any money collected through this account?
Can you just, like, for which account?
So, the special gross revenue from qualifying construction projects. So I guess it goes into the general fund, but portions of this, 50% is appropriated to the third senatorial district, to the CNMI Department of Public Works, under the expenditure authority of the Secretary of Public Works. Any collections? Would you know, or you wouldn't know that? Okay,
We'll get back to you on that.
yes, thank you. And any updates on that would be great. So Ray, Secretary, before I close, just one thing. How many subcontractors off the top of your head are filed to do business in the Commonwealth?
Guys. Yeah, that's difficult for us to
Okay.
determine. It's based on the contractors who win a bid, for example,
Okay.
and then their submittal of their subcons
Okay.
that they may or may not use. So
So
to get-
there's an ongoing joke here when you can tell if it's a contractor because they work from 8 to 5 and the subcontractors work from 5 to 12. Is that true?
I have no comments to that, Congresswoman. I
Okay.
mean, we do have a Department of Labor that should be doing their job.
Well, I mean, you're approving contracts.
Right, but we do have oversight. But if you're alluding to subcons that are under
Okay.
the table or
No, I'm
the
not
like,
alluding to anything of that. Let me tell
I
you, this
can't
this
answer
is
that.
what I'm alluding to. Is if we have a contractor, he got the bid, and I'm gonna get to the bid process after. He got the bid, your general contractor, subcontracts. During this, and here's an example, during that rainy season before they finished OLEI portion for the road, you would literally see an individual with a sponge on the side of the road, squeezing water and squeezing it out into a, I mean, I don't know what the standard is, but at some point we should have a standard. And if the contractor is going, the subcontractor is going to be awarded this money from projects that either this body appropriated to you, I do not see that return on investment being used in a manner that is above par. That's not even par. But if that is how they do things, then maybe we need to really look at the subcontractors and what they can provide, because that's clean money. That's hardworking money from hardworking people. And if a project takes one person to go over there and literally squeeze water from a sponge, I've got kids looking for work. And maybe we can get some of these other people that don't have anything to do and pay them a stipend to do that. I just don't get it. Anyway, so during your process then, do you guys, on your procurement bids, are you guys doing the IDIQ, or are you just following whatever the central government says for procurement?
No, we don't follow IDIQ.
Is there a reason why you don't?
It's not allowed by procurement regs.
Really? Because CHCC does it.
They have their own, they are an autonomous agency, so they have their own procurement regulations.
Okay, so is there maybe an alternate route that we can use and probably ask the AG if it's possible to allow you the IDIQ process, because it makes sense for Public Works?
It does actually. In fact, I've been discussing this on multiple occasions with my highway staff.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that even Federal Highway had asked us,
Okay.
why aren't we utilizing it?
Okay.
And we told them that it's basically not allowed under our procurement regulations. And if this body, your office, for example, would want to introduce legislation to
Legislation?
that effect, I
Okay.
would be in full support of
All
that.
right, so that would help you.
Yes.
Okay, so then that's something I'll put my
It
note
would
to myself.
definitely help with road maintenance, because we can have just one general contract, and the contractor will be called on an as-needed basis to come
Correct.
in and do these
Fix it one shot.
work as the year progresses, right?
Right,
So
because it's
instead
an
of
indefinite just kind of happens, and then you can
w- there
do
would
this
still be
process through the
a
IDIQ.
time frame, but at least
Right.
we're not making requests for quotations or
Right.
requests for an RFP, for example. Every time we need small work, it can
Right.
just be one.
So this would totally help you.
Absolutely.
All right, so then I will go ahead and work on that. I don't know if I can promise you if it's going to pass the Senate or what, but we can get it possibly going at some point. I think that's it for me. Secretary, thank you so much
Yeah.
for the work that you and your team do. This hearing is not like our first time at the rodeo when we came with our papers all stacked up, but I think with a little bit training and being in this environment, you kind of get the feel and ask questions that you want answers to. But in terms of your operation and what you guys do, I do believe that you are understaffed. And I do think that there should be more collaborative partnerships between the mayor and Public Works in terms of communication, because he's got equipment, you're lacking equipment. He's got manpower, you're lacking manpower. And at the end of the day, when you look at it, it's almost like you guys are duplicating each other's work, to be honest, except he doesn't have the professional side, which you have.
Correct.
So I wish you the best, and thank you guys for all you do at Public Works and Solid Waste. You guys are doing awesome. Thank you, Chairman. I yield
Thank
my
you,
time.
Representative Marisa Flores. Let me recognize Representative Joe Flores.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Secretary. Bob, your man for doing as much as possible needed assistance for the public. That's why it's the Department of Public Works.
Thank you.
Just for an update, this has been a talk regarding waste. The transfer station that's supposed to be erected sometime in the south side, is that still in the works, or?
Yours can. Okay. We still have an agreement with DPL for the Asgono transfer station. The property's still there. We've used it for the green waste staging. I believe we're just waiting for the NEPA clearances. It is taking unusually long. Same with the transfer station for Cacman. there was money identified through CIP, but it might have been moved to other pressing projects while we're still working out the NEPA. That's a question for Liz Balahaja and her team. But I can get you updates after I communicate with her office.
Yes, it's very appreciated, needed, and to an update, because we're, like you're saying, you guys are not charging the tip fee and then the disposal. And if we have a transfer station, we're much easier, because people eventually, north is very far from the south, and then eventually just dump it in the shoulder rather than going all the way north.
Yeah, and what I've offered Precinct 1 in this case, an opportunity that if we can work collaboratively to have a site to do daily collections. We just don't have the staff for it, but if Precinct 1 can pull together and work with solid waste, we can send our roll-on, roll-off truck to bring a bin up there, or down there, I should say, to collect all these collected trash material and then bring it up to the Marpi landfill or transfer station for processing. As long as we clean the site daily, we can get permits for that and work together until we get a permanent facility constructed.
Thank you. So, your road maintenance, you mentioned earlier that you have about 2.5 in that account, and you're reserving 1 point something for your streetlights. Is that?
Well, every year, I mean, because our utility bill is rolling in monthly, so we're using that account because we don't have any other account left to tap onto. We don't have funding for utilities that would normally be in the annual budget. Our operational account, as we all know, is zero. So unfortunately, like what Director Mike said, and we're basically owed, we're taking from the same pot, and it's unfortunately, a road maintenance account really should be used for, just by its very name, to maintain the roads at all levels, both secondaries, primary, the equipment that his office, our division needs, and of course the street lights, because it is along the roads. So it is challenging and unfortunate, but we're doing what we can to find strike a balance.
The account regarding that late fees of the motor vehicle, the percent is the 50%. The revolving in one of your revolving account.
That's basically the funding source. That is the funding source.
Yeah.
It's the driver's license renewal.
Right. Is that together in the road?
Mm-hmm. That's basically what funds the road maintenance account. It's driver's license and also vehicle registrations. We get a portion of that. I believe it's 45%. The other 45% goes to DPS.
So in that you can be using that for your road repair maintenance, right? And shoulders?
Right.
Okay. What's the balance of that? Do you have your balance on that as this time?
We're expecting, after estimated takedown of about 1.2, we're looking at roughly 1.3 balance. And we're not even sure about next year, so...
With the balance and that you're roughly 1.3, would it be possible if we can start looking into a repair maintenance of this guardrail here on the shoulder? That's from Gabriel all the way.
The reason why we're not really touching the guardrail, number one, is for some of those accidents that damage the guardrail, Attorney General's office is actively working with the person that damaged it through their insurance or otherwise as the first line. Second is Henry and his team in Federal Highway. We're tapping onto the hazard elimination for that. And then, of course, our last go-to is to tap onto the road maintenance if need be. So Yeah, it is. It is a little bit bureaucratic, but we are working through the process.
Would it be possible that the DPW would just go ahead and took the initiative to start repairing that, and the forthcoming is the repair from the insurance, because it's a hazard. I think we should take a look at that, because if another, not maybe not today, if Thomas, somebody's going to hit that guardrail, and now it's projected, it's no more, it's not that safe
Right.
to look at it.
Yeah. Yes.
While we're waiting, we by might as well just start doing something initiative from your side, and
Right.
forthcoming.
Right. So I did send out an email to the highway traffic section manager Tom Camacho to work with Henry on the plan to go in and start repairing the damaged guardrails as we're waiting. So that plan is forthcoming. I believe it's done. It's just the staffing, because ¿cuánto empleado niya? Like about 4 people? Three. The problem with traffic section is they're not experts in the guardrail repair business, right? So to repair guardrail, we're looking easily like that damage, like a small section, especially the one that right out here. That's not going to be anything less than $20,000. Okay, so it's serious money.
And but we can compensate the safety and the price, so I think we need to look into that. But let's start with one at a time. Will be possible. That I'll look forward in that update of your for the repair. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Do you,
Are you something?
Representative? Thank you, Representative Joe Flores. I recognize now Representative Julie Ogo.
Thank you, Chairman. Welcome to the House, Secretary Yumo, and
Thank
your department directors and the rest of your staff. In line with Rep. Flores' question, so with the driver's license and registration fees or collection, DPW gets 45% of that, you say?
That's correct.
And does that include the first and second senatorial collection?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that's, okay, that's well clarified right there. I understand, I don't have as much question as our floor leader here, but I only have a few. I understand that, for several budget hearings, the DPW road has been asking for funding for like heavy equipment repairs and services, fuel and lubrication, and they don't get anything from the governor's proposal. So I know that they have an issue right now with the dump. One of their heavy equipment, the D6 CAT D6T, is inoperable since late 2023, and that's a very serious issue because the space is limited, and the trash and debris has not been spread. Pushed aside to make more room, and there's no other dozer on island that they can rent or to use to spread those trash. And I know that they reached out to the delegation for assistance in funding of about 13,000 to have that equipment repaired and serviced. Obviously, we don't have that money, and so I understand that they reached out to your office back last month, and according to the branch manager, Mr. Taves, there has not been any response from your office. So, we're just wondering, have your office identified any funding that can assist DPW Road on that?
Okay. Right now, I believe for the funding to the from the beautification tax is still suspended for this fiscal year, and that would have been the funding source for that. But I do understand that this current budget proposal that was submitted by the governor's office aims to not suspend it, so that the accounts can be restored. In other words, it will start to receive funds. So if the budget proposal doesn't suspend that, then starting next fiscal year, there will be a funding stream for Rhoda, likewise for Tinian as well. Because Rhoda and Tinian does not collect tipping fees, zero. I sent letters asking the municipality to begin implementing the tipping fees, but they have not done so. So it's very hard to fund for the solid waste down in Rhoda when there's no funding stream, and that's the biggest problem. You mentioned the road maintenance. The road maintenance is for the roads, not for solid waste operations. That's why it's that's not even an allowable use of funds.
I understand.
Unless
I was referring to the DPW operational site.
Yeah. So
So,
it is challenging now. Just to let you know that the delegation did, or the mayor's office did ask for assistance for fuel to open up a road down there, and was requesting if the road maintenance account can be utilized, and I said I have no issues with that. They've been working with right-of-way office because they have to get the proper clearances, the permits basically from Fish and Wildlife and CRM, so that the road can be open. So we're just waiting for them to let us know if it's been processed and permitted, so that we can attach that in my justification letter to procurement, so that I can make those funds available.
so I understand, like, as mentioned earlier, that equipment has been inoperable since 2023.
Right.
So, is there any funding that we can identify that we can address that? Because if we're gonna wait for the budget to unsuspend the beautification, that's gonna take maybe another 6 months or so.
Right. The other funding source would be the SODRA under the Comprehensive Integrated Solid Waste Master Plan that's expected to be approved by US EPA in the next few months. So that would be a quick funding source, because the money would be released and it would not need to accumulate up, and the municipality can tap on those funds. Yes.
I know you mentioned about the tipping fee, and I've actually addressed that when I first came into office. And right now, with the new branch manager, I believe he said that he's been working with BCQ to get that permit, that landfill, or I guess it's not called a landfill because it's not permitted. It's more like a dump site.
Right.
And so they're currently working with them, with the BEQCs, to get that permit, and then he's gonna, be providing a proposal to your office, I believe, for to implement that collection in Rhoda.
Okay, that's good news.
Yes, and I believe. Chair, I think that's all I have for now. I yield for now.
Thank you, Representative Juliogo. Recognize Representative Joel Camacho.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And good afternoon, Secretary and Directors, and to your team.
Good
I
afternoon.
just have some quick follow-up questions. This is not regarding your budget proposal. I looked over your budget proposal, and it's a pretty fair ask
Thank you.
compared to the other agencies that I've seen. But since you have your floodplain person here, I was just wondering if you can provide an update on the flooding next to Pacific Marine.
Actually, Henry, can you give the congressman an update
Can you
on
give us
the
an
project?
update on like the starting date? Because I know we're approaching rainy season again, so.
Yeah, so we already have a contractor there. We already issued an NTP, notice to proceed last Monday, July 7. So they are in preparation to purchase the drainage pipes and permitting.
So the project entails changing the drainage pipes?
We're going to bypass the existing drainage along the road because it is connecting wetland to wetland. So it is the other wetland is always sediment is always accumulated there, and to maintain that we always apply for a permit in the wetland, which is more challenging.
Yes.
So we have a bypass from that OER's equipment office. We will bypass that. A new box culvert will be installed there, 4 feet by 7 feet wide.
So that will help ultimately address the flooding there, because it's been that way for many, many years, and one of the most dangerous times of the year, that specific area when it's rainy season. So that will fully address the issue?
Yes, that will address. That is funded by US EPA under OSG.
Thank you for that update. And then another update is regarding the unfinished paving at the intersection of the Saduktosi, heading up to Capitol Hill. I noticed that there was a repair made, but I noticed there's like a dip when you're taking a left turn up to the hill. I'm just wondering if they're gonna come back and make the final completion on that, or?
James Regis is my highway inspector. He's actually in charge of the road cutting. Can you get
Yeah,
the microphone?
let's have him come near Mr. Noel over here, and maybe can use the mic.
I also have a map for all the road cuttings if you guys want to see it. It's right over here. Oh, yeah.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is James Harris. I'm the highway inspector. I'm handling road cutting and also speed bumps. So the anti-skid that is pending there, unfortunately, Hawaiian Rock didn't get any go from CUC, and they went ahead and did the asphalt, but they didn't continue with the anti-skid. So that's why they just leave it like that. But CUC is kind of working on finding funding to complete that, because we're doing an ongoing restoration for all the previous road cut.
Okay, which is inclusive of the sewage project, right? If you're heading north, it's at the same intersection.
Yeah, that's another issue that we have. That was contracted out to Prime Tech, and then I guess CUC, the Prime Tech didn't complete the project, so they took the project away, and so now CUC is trying to find funding to prioritize the main road there.
Okay, thank you. That's a great update. And maybe also if you can just for the viewing public, because a lot of the requests when there's a road cutting that's being done, sometimes the public doesn't understand, and I've tried to address this to a lot of our constituents, that when there's a road cutting, normally the process is the batching, right, for Hawaiian Rock, the asphalt batching comes in small batches, so that in essence, when they have enough batching, they release it to DPW, the mayor's office, etc. Is that correct?
So there's three companies that are usually doing a road cutting. If it's ITNE, they usually do it as soon as possible. But it's CUC that we're having hard time with, because they do road cutting almost every day.
Yeah.
And so the restoration, we require them to at least pour concrete temporary, so that we don't receive all these complaints and hazardous to our motorists. And so those are the challenges that I have with CUC is it takes time for them to restore, so we require them to put at least concrete. As we speak, Hawaiian Rock is doing a paving right now around Puerto Rico Drive, some of the road cuts. We currently have like 200 road cuttings with CUC. They completed already about 100 of that, and we're continuing with the restoration. So we're moving forward. Yeah.
Thank you for that update, Mr. Regis. I just wanted, so you can state it for the viewing public.
Yeah.
I know, Mr. Chairman, sorry, in the interest of time, I know we're in the lunch hour, but you mentioned, Secretary, you mentioned earlier about Federal Highway, because I did notice that from the old Primary Resort heading north, a lot of the buttons are no longer in the main roadway, so it's kind of starting to look like a one lane, and it's becoming quite hazardous. I'm just wondering, because I know that was done the last administration. I did notice that they were installing buttons for the main highway for
the split lane. I'm just wondering, is it more cost effective if you just do the striping, like a paint striping, as opposed to the buttons? Because actually, that's something that we need to address immediately since it's a federal highway.
Both are needed because the striping is there for visual markings during the day
Yeah.
and somewhat at night, but you also want the buttons so that if a vehicle starts to hit
reflector,
it, you can feel it and you know if you're off too far to the side, right? So it does work both ways. Both a physical indicator that you feel, and then also the visual. What my office what we've been trying to do right now is to have traffic section in conjunction with roads and grounds to try to do some of these minor work, if you will, because if I were to issue an RFP, it would generally be like an island-wide type of a project, and it gets extremely costly, and then at the same time, the preparation for the bid, right? It would be time-consuming to try to do it in-house for something as minor as replacing buttons. I think that can be achieved to keep costs down, and that's something that we're looking at. In fact, we're trying that out now with the crosswalk striping that we're going to bring in these thermoplastic tape, where all we got to do is just prep the existing asphalt, lay it, heat it, and then it'll blend or bite into the asphalt. Striping, on the other hand, is a little bit more tricky because you got to take a machine and you got to make sure that that line is straight before you start painting it. And if you make a mistake, it's time consuming and costly as well to strip off and then redo. So something like that, we would rather contract out. And of course, like what Congresswoman had mentioned earlier, and indefinite quantity, indefinite time frame or IDIQ would work really well in that situation. So we're looking at multiple ways to address it so that there's always maintenance being done to the road. Right now, it's extremely sporadic. Quite frankly, I would say it's non-existent the last few years, and this is something that we're trying to correct and find a workaround. But it's on my short to-do list that I'm pushing out for this year.
My last question, Mr. Chairman, any update on the Capitol Hill playground? The installation, I know, was...
Okay, Crystal.
Okay, we are already on our 12 o'clock mark, but I'm gonna push just a bit and allow Representative Vincent O'Don to ask a question, and then the vice, and then I have just a clarification question for, I think I owe it from Representative Roman Benavente, who left. And so, Representative Vincent O'Don, please make it quick. Okay. Oh, don't you yield already?
The Capitol Hill playground.
Also, please go ahead and respond. Who's?
Hi, good morning, or good afternoon. So a quick update on the Capitol Hill playground installation is that because there's a change in scope, right, there were just minor issues that we need to work out on that possibly would not go under the existing contract for that project. So we are currently evaluating proposals that are coming in to address the new location. Aside from that, it's moving along.
Okay, you? Okay. Representative Vincent O'Don.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, DPW staff and SEC. No, because we're talking about the budget, right? I'm trying to figure out like a funding source also for, DPW. What are how? I would like to know how many tonnage of demolished debris, like let's say for example, building gets delivered to the landfill on an annual basis.
When you say debris, what kind of debris?
Like the when
wood
they
deb-
destroy the
wood
concrete
or
and they
CNDs.
yes.
Those are called CNDs.
Let me, Congressman, right at this point in time, we don't really have a clear picture. However, as a requirement, before delivery of those materials, they have to be broken down and removed of the rebars to a plus minus 6 inches. And doing that will prevent them from paying any tipping fees because we use it as either, wet patch or subsidized with the cover, supplement the cover material. So they are being delivered to MARPI with the condition that it's broken down accordingly.
So it's pre-processed.
It's got to be pre-processed before, otherwise we won't accept it because it's just not part of the scope of work for the MARPI construction.
Right.
Or
And
contractor.
the reason why I'm asking that is because I know for a fact that that is considered what do you call it, recyclable material
Yes.
for construction. So instead of just dumping it or using it as a layer, you could sell it as construction material because it is being used in places like Japan, Europe, the United States, Canada, Australia. When they break down a building, they recycle that concrete, and then they reuse it. So instead of just burying it or using it as a layer to do whatever it does that you do in the landfill, you could sell that. But the asphalt, I understand that you can't because the tar that's already mixed in the rocks, cannot be used with concrete. But that is, and God knows na, I mean, just to build a house nowadays, concrete, it's expensive, especially when you're getting virgin material. But if you could utilize that, to make extra money on the side to especially help the solid waste, sell it to the public because it is reusable, and I know for a fact that EPA does allow that, so that could be funding, another source of funding for DPW.
Well, yeah, Congressman, personally, I don't think even 50% of the materials that are being, broken down from, demolishing buildings come into the landfill. For the most part, it's the owner's, I guess, prerogative. If somebody's asking for a backfill for a private lot, it goes there. And I do agree with you, recycled concrete buildings in Guam especially is very valuable, but they have a private company running that to grind it down. And I'm hoping, I'm aware Public Works was eyeing a grinding machine, no, sir?
Like a rock breaker.
A rock crusher.
Yes.
That would be perfect.
Right.
Again, for Public Works or even anybody, and if somebody's gonna give it away. Right now, the best I can do, without notwithstanding concrete, but the glass, we're crushing glass.
Right.
An example, like Mr. Efren Camacho is really interested in using that as his garden, improving his garden or his building surroundings,
Okay.
which I'll be more happy to give away.
Right, because the glass
But
is
I just
actually
don't want
sand.
to, I want to try to maintain that balance where, it's free as long as you give us some type of, public relation that you're reusing recyclable materials.
Right. I mean, it would be like it would help prolong the life of the landfill
Of course,
if we
yeah.
start recycling those kind of products. But I wouldn't say to give it to the public for free because the operational cost that is going to be required to manufacture that or to make it reusable again. I think something along the line where it has to be a cost recovery, for your expenses
Well,
to turn that product from product A to product B.
It'll be nice, but unfortunately, again, the fact of the matter is even road construction, not even close to 50% of those backfill materials that are excess, that are not usable on site, basically are diverted to private lots for, requesting, was that earth moving permits for their property to be.
So would it, so
It
would it,
doesn't come in, not.
so let's say, for example, would it be safe to say that, because we want to prolong the life and not have DPW solid waste, spend too much money on the landfill, that if you got some of those recyclable materials, that if a private company comes in and takes it, or, private citizen comes in and take it and reuse it, would that make sense? Because you guys don't have to dispose of it, you don't have to bury it, but, you allow the public to come in with, understanding that it shouldn't hold you accountable for whatever happens, because at least it'll take some of that, waste material for the public to recycle.
Well, we use it, it's a valuable item for us to receive it, just because it'll save us. Let me just give, for example, unlike the old ordered Guam or ordered dump in Guam, at the end of the day, when they got into receivership, they had to purchase coral to do at least an acceptable compliance closure. For Saipan, we're saving money by not, by setting aside. We don't necessarily landfill it per se, but we do have a permit requirement to do an interim cover for after every waste compaction to apply, about 4 to 6 inches of intermediate covers. And we use those backfill materials as a savings. Otherwise, we cannot just, keep filling it up without. So we have to always go on top and do some, what they call the lifts.
Layering?
Yeah, layering. Yeah. But, those backfill materials are very valuable. Again, the rocks are just used very minimal on a 50 by 50 feet of wet pad to make sure that during the rainy season, they'll be able to access back and forth for the workplace. Other than that, anything else is not, Okay. I wish I can stop all the backfill materials from going everywhere but the landfill, because the BCQ permit does require the contractor to any excess material to be delivered to MARPE. However, it's still allowed for any earth moving request to be diverted elsewhere, wherever it's needed, or, for deliverables.
Okay.
If we're gonna get or try to make it a revenue source, that'd be something that we can discuss. But again, we're struggling with space right now. As a matter of fact, we do have a request for public land to go outside the perimeter fencing, just for vacuum, storage site, just because we want to maintain while we're especially doing a cleanup for the remnants of the Typhoon U2 and whatnot. Right. We got to clear that up, and again, just maintain site availability for the, for disasters, the impending disasters that are definitely will be coming. So we're just trying to clear the lot and make sure, and to make sure that we have space available, so we can separate any potential FEMA reimbursement versus the regular storage space for the incoming loads.
Okay, and then one last thing. Does your solid waste division have a, what do you call it, hazardous pay for its employees?
Right now, I know the Office of Budget Management and Budget, there's a temporary, suspension of it, just because of the, the financial economic situation.
I totally understand the financial situation, but wouldn't you think that the health and safety of your people would be like on top priority list, because they're handling on a day-to-day basis hazardous material that we don't know if it's going to cause them cancer or hepatitis or whatever it may be?
Don't get me wrong, they are certified and approved by Office of Personnel Management that are entitled for hazardous pay. It's just getting paid is what is what I'm trying to allude to, that the money's not there to compensate them that. However, it did occur not too long ago that when there was money available or identified by the legislature, including road and Tinian, then they got paid for, a retroactive payment, and there's a cutoff, so they still owe them so much for, for hazardous compensation.
How long ago has this thing been going on where it's not being funded?
Hazardous differential is now usually funded it's not really put into the budget, because hazardous differential has to be worked. So what usually happens is that if hazardous differentials are calculated by a 3-month cycle, and then from there we look at the timesheet, because you may have an employee that qualifies to work for hazardous differential, but if it doesn't work in that environment, so they don't get paid. So basically, we have to calculate the number of hours, days, and whatnot, and then we can have an estimate. So usually, if you have a base pay of, for example, 15,000 times that by 25%, more or less, an employee would not receive the total 25% unless he has a perfect attendance and usually work in those environments. But like I said, if they do work, we can always calculate those difference, and then we process a person action. We send it to OPM, attach all the timesheets and whatnot to prove that they did work for those hazardous condition, and then they get paid.
So let me ask this one simple question, to everybody, and that's to include all of us here. How much is our life worth? How much is it worth? Because at the end of the day, those people that are actually handling it, they might work today and they might not work tomorrow, right? And then they work the next day, but in 5 years from now, he got sick for something that he got from working there the first time. But we don't know. And here's my next question to that. Are those people that are working, handling all of these hazardous material, have an annual, medical checkup that is recorded?
Okay, that's a good question, Congressman. Let's take a couple steps back. The landfill itself is not authorized to accept any hazardous waste, period.
But they do.
Well, that's why the periodic testing, the leachate and the like, and it's always come back negative. So I think we've done really good, a good thing about waste segregation and the processing, and then of course the companies that deliver hazardous or waste in general are not mixing in hazardous waste. So we do have a separate collection point for that. All our employees are trained on hazardous waste handling. They are certified. They've taken these approved EPA courses. So they are trained. We do provide the hazardous waste preventive equipment, right? The PPEs. Those are all available to them. So true operations have minimized the likelihood. But yes, you're right. I mean, there could be a percentage that likelihood that you could, but right now we're not in that position to determine, because we're not the authority. If let's say a typhoon comes in, and this is the best example, typhoon comes in and emergency responders kicks in, right, and they're picking up all kinds of debris, and we're just collecting, not really going in and segregating and taping off, right, hazardous sites. That would be something of concern. That's why there's a trigger for that. It's not us. Usually it's Homeland that would pull the trigger. At our level, if a contractor or a business or someone brings in something that's deemed hazardous, right, without knowing, then there's a mechanism for that can kick in so that it can be properly handled. There are procedures for that. So you're right in that sense, but to generally say, well, if you work at the landfill, you should be on 100% hazardous for the entirety of the year. That if that is an actual event, then we would be in trouble because we're now in a non-compliant status.
And I just want to make sure that we don't get this wrong. No, I'm not. I do 100% admire all the things that you guys have done with the little resources that you have, and I'm not saying that it's your fault. You're only working with what you got.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I totally understand that. What I'm trying to make the public understand is that the administration needs to do its due diligence to make sure that, like DPW, right, are prioritized, especially when people such as yourselves that are working on hazardous material. Because we all know that, let's say, for example, the landfill is not supposed to be receiving any hazardous material. But we also know that the public, are attack on the head, because they know that you're not supposed to, but they do it anyways, and they hide it, and then they dump it, and then when you guys come in to do an inspection, it's there, So it's not. I'm saying that it's your fault, What I'm trying to get at is the funding that you guys need, not want, because I might not know everybody that works at solid waste, or DPW that handles hazardous material, but the administration should prioritize and fund, the hazardous, program or whatever that material. I mean, it needs to be funded. And I wish I could cut from somebody and, bring it to you so that those people, your workforce can be compensated, and it just boggles my mind that, I think it's mostly over a decade where people are not getting paid hazardous pay because the priority to, protecting the lives of our people that deals with this is not being met. And you should be asking for that. It's just like, being a police officer or something like that. Because you guys are the ones that are out there, because when I go to the transfer station, there's a lot of hazardous material there. You know what I mean? And your people work with it. They're all up around it, and they don't realize that just the fumes itself could be carcinogenic, and it's sad to see, that the proposed budget or whatever is not funding that hazardous pay that your employees actually deserve. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's your fault. I'm just saying that somebody's priorities are not prioritizing the health, and the livelihood of those people that actually work there.
Yeah, and we do have DEQ officers coming in periodically inspecting all our facilities. So they would be the actual trigger to let us know that, hey, if our my staff are working in a hazardous environment because something was introduced, right? Then we take action. I can certainly do that part, but for me to just say, hey, everybody, I'm gonna start paying you guys hazardous pay today.
No, that's not what they're saying at all.
Everybody
wants to transfer to solid waste by then.
Right. But I understand your concerns, and we're always we have that open dialogue with both EPA and DEQ. We're always collaborating, so we would know if this would need to happen, and we would obviously take corrective actions.
Thank
because
you.
We don't want staff working in that type of environment when they're not supposed to be doing it. We're not at that level.
Thank you, Secretary. In the interest of time, there's still members that have questions, and I'm gonna move forward. Sorry. Rep. Don, let me recognize Denita Yangtimay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Vice.
thank you, Chair. Quick one. Thank you, Secretary and members, your team for coming. I just want to thank you for everything that you've done in Precinct 3, and you've been very helpful guiding me to where I should turn to. And another thing, I know you're probably tired of this already, but you're probably going to call on Henry or Gani about the funding basing in or basin in Asfalapi?
Yes, thank you for that
Update,
question.
please.
That's good. Hazard mitigation office was moving to the next phase. We did receive a briefing. I'm still waiting for the contractor to provide me with the slides so that I can present it to you guys. They've mapped out everything and designed what needs to be done to address the runoff coming down Falapi and making its way down to the Garapan area. Donnie, do you want to give our Congresswoman a nice brief? Yeah, I've been tapping on Henry too much, so. And Edwin too. Edwin, come up and you can also give your comments as well.
Thank you. Just so the people viewing, are following also, because they've been asking about it. Thank you.
Yeah, press the mic, please, Sagani.
Good morning, everyone. Congresswoman Dinita. The status of this, this project, the Aspalipi drainage improvement, the design has been completed. As you always come to the office and ask for the update for this project. But finally, we get the final 100% completion of this design. So right now, hazard mitigation is working on the funding, so we can follow through with the construction of this project. So probably Edwin can get us some information about the funding. How's going to be, what is the status of that?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning or good afternoon. So the project that he's talking about was the scoping design project that is completed now. We went ahead and did an application for the construction phase, which is the phase 2. I believe it's about $12 million. So we've already submitted that application to FEMA via the HMGP office. So we're maybe expecting, usually it takes close to a year for FEMA to review, and then we'll get that approval from them. So we're crossing our fingers to make sure that it's coming. But yeah, the application has been submitted.
Okay, yes, thank you. Thank you for the update. I yield, Chair.
Thank you, Representative Denita Yang. To my Vice Chair, and then we will wrap up by myself.
Thank you, Chairman. And I know it's past lunchtime, guys, but we'll bypass the Mount Tapocho question. We'll move ahead. So the legislature to the House will pre-filed a joint resolution regarding the developers infrastructure tax for these private companies that are getting contract projects from the military. I'm just asking for your support, Secretary. The department works with the legislature to assist in a position for the Commonwealth in regards to these taxes that we should be collecting at the very least. I know this is a hot topic that's been going around for the last couple of weeks, and I'm respectfully asking your office to please work with OMB if they've got the listings of all projects that have been done with the military, so we can assess at the very least a billing system to these companies, these subcontractors for these projects. Whether they pay or not, it doesn't matter at this time. We just want to make sure that there's paper trail, that should those billings be paid down the road, at least we have a paper trail that would follow every single project that's going on there on Tinian right now. And I believe Ms. V can get you all those all the listings of the projects that have been done, the ongoing projects and the future projects, so that DPW can have a trail of all these billing cycles. So should we get down the road and we're able to avail with these funds, we don't have to backtrack and start from scratch again. We already have the paperwork in place so that we can start doing the collections.
Yeah, thank you, Congressman. I know I did reach out to the Attorney General's office back in around March 17. I sent an LSR. It still has not been answered. I had sat with Yvonne and also Ghani separately to discuss how we can assess developer tax to those projects on Tinian. And the brick wall that I've run into, just plain and simple, is that I don't have copies of contracts that says, hey, me to you for an X amount to do this work. So that I can have it assessed. All I see is the billboard that's down in Tinian that says 300 million, and that's it. I go online, I try to dig around. I don't have that information, so it's very difficult for building safety office, building codes office to assess when we don't have documents to assess. And also, but also on the flip side, I want to ask you guys, to also consider looking at the existing statute. I know for building code, if we were to construct any home structure and it requires CUC to connect, what's the first thing CUC is going to ask? And it's in the regulation. They're going to ask for a building occupancy permit. That comes from DPW, from building code. So how do these facilities get connected with power when they haven't come to us for occupancy? And if you come to us for occupancy, you damn sure know I'm going to assess you, because we're going to ask.
And that's fine, but again, that's a separate legislation that we should be working with you guys on. No? But in this current ask is to work with OMB if they've got the listings of these projects, and at the very least we can impose some sort of fee just for paper trail at this point. But if we can get this paper trail going from the first project to their last project, and
Right.
we're going to be able to benefit from this, we already have all the documents in place so that we can start collecting. As for the ask that let's work with the enabling legislation for DPW, and we might as well repeal and reenact that and address all the needs moving forward. But with that being said, we also need to make sure that, like, the was it building code permit or whatever
Well, there's a construction permit, and then the occupancy permit.
and then the other one, I forget the one we
developer
adopt every year or every couple years.
The certificate of annual certificate of compliance.
Is it the compliance, the one with the federal government or the department? I forget exactly what it was, but I know that a lot of the engineers have to abide by those. I forget the name of the thing, but I know that we adopt that policy, but a lot of those policies do not apply. A portion of those policies are not beneficial to the cinema because of the way we build structures here. It's not the same as the way they build structures in California, for example.
Oh, you mean the IBC code?
The IBC code, there you
International
go.
Building Code.
Yeah, I think we.
So
I
we
think
follow.
need
We follow real quickly. We follow a more newer standard. I believe the Department of Defense follows the 2015 to 2016. Alphaita? We're 2018. The military, I believe, is like 2015 or much further back. But it's not. There's not that much difference.
Okay. But just with that, I guess let's work on the enabling act, and we can address many other requests that DPW may have. So we have an omnibus legislation that's going to help your department. moving
Congressman, I mean, if OMB or finance wants to share with us these contracts, I mean, I'm more than happy to have.
That's why we're here and they're
them,
here, and
assessed.
I'm respectfully asking that you guys work together so we can get at least paper trail at the moment, so that we're setting up a position for at least from the
Right.
legislative branch.
And just so that the public knows and members here knows that when it comes to developer tax, construction tax, we're just assessing. We're the assessors. after we're done with the assessment, it goes over to Department of Finance for
Right.
collection.
Yeah.
You know, and then they do their part.
All we need is paper trail right now. You know, so
Absolutely.
we wanna set a position from our branch at the very least, and hopefully the executive branch will follow suit, so that we have a position from the CDM that's actually unified in collecting from these projects that are going on here. No, thank you, Sec, and thank you to your team again.
Thank you, Vice. Okay, and then, the chair's, just one clarification, question to TSD. Maybe Crystal can, follow through on this, for, Representative Roma Benavente. Saipan Local Law 22-16, under, Section 2, under Appropriation A. This is the 300 initially, ceiling of 300,000 for Holly Place Road in Precinct 2, Precinct 1. Representative Roman on yesterday's House session expressed concerns that those funds had depleted down to 260. So my question to TSD, since this Saipan law, local law became into law, have you guys assessed already your 5% administrative fee and then the excess also on top of the 5%? Because according to Representative Roman Benavente's finding with finance, the availability of funds were at 260, so there is a variance of 40,000. And I know out of 300,000, to calculate your 5% administrative fee would perhaps be at a 15,000, right? So there is still a variance of 24,000 that was cut out of that, and you guys are the expenditure authority on these funds based on their Saipan Local Law 22-16. Do you have the answer now? If not, I will make that an official request by this August body that you give us that answer maybe by tomorrow or this week.
Yeah, that's something that I would like to verify. I have all the numbers that you stated do reflect to be pretty much accurate. I'm not sure if Gani would be able to touch on the status of this project. I have here listed that the project is completed, and that there is a munis funds balance. Gani?
Gani, do you, this is back on the 22nd legislature, we're now in the 24th legislature, so is this like 4 years appropriation? So if your memory serves you well, you have the floor.
I'm sorry, Chairman. I don't know where's the 40,000, but sorry. But the Holly Place Road is the first phase of this project has been completed, and we still have the remaining second phase, which is supposed to be funded by this 260,000. Which I already started the design. So Congressman Benavente and I are working together on this. So we're planning, DPW is planning to bid it out probably by end of August.
And end of August this year?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. And so with that, I really apologize that we went beyond our 12 o'clock mark. But with that, we move further down on our order of business announcement. I want to announce to the viewing public and remind our members that tomorrow we have the public school system before us at 9:30. And so with that, we move further down on our last order of business. That's item, but before I do that, sorry. Let me give you back the floor, Secretary, for just any closing remarks if you have before we adjourn.
No, other than I believe Representative Marissa Flores has some questions for Energy Office, and I know Vince, who's acting.
I think we're gonna move forward, Secretary, and with that answer on that question, you can come back to us on the
Okay.
through
Well,
writing.
with that, I'd like to thank everybody for allowing us to speak today and field your questions. Of course, the budget that was presented, we're okay about it. I mean, of course, Director Mike Rosengrounds, our FTEs for Rosengrounds is critical. That we need to we plan, like he said, to bring in additional staff or hires to work in the division so that we can do more for the precincts and the islands. So with that, I'd like to thank you guys for allowing us to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. And with that, we move now to our last order of business. That is item 7, adjournment. And at this time, the chair adjourns this budget hearing. We are now adjourned.